Samanta cakkavalesu atra gaccantu devata Saddhammang munirajassa sunantu sagga mokkadam Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Namo tansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Saddha bijang tapo vutti panyame yuganangalam Hiri samano yottang satime palapachananti. Okay, dear Dhamma friends, may the Triple Gem bless you. And today we are going to start our weekly Dhamma class. Here I am going to explain one of the main concept in Buddhism, that Saddha. Saddha is not only a concept, but the quality that one of the qualities that we have to practice in the path of liberation. That is very important. Saddha. Do you know what's the meaning of Saddha? Saddha means confidence or faith in the Triple Gem. You know, and confidence on the Triple Gem. What are the Triple Gems? The Buddha, the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, and the Sangha, the Buddha's noble disciples. Actually, as the followers of Buddha's doctrines, that at the very beginning, having some kind of saddha or confidence on the Triple Gem is very important. You know, we do most of things depending on confidence. You know, when we are going to a college, we have some kind of confidence that there are good teachers there. When we participate to a class, that we have some kind of confidence about the teacher who has enough knowledge about the subject. And also when we go to a doctor, we have some kind of confidence that that doctor has educational qualifications. Everywhere, when we do something, we do with the confidence. Especially when we practice a spiritual path, at the very beginning we should have some kind of confidence. It is not a complete confidence, but we should have at least a little bit of saddha or confidence. When we go on the path, our confidence or faith or saddha gradually increases. That is the nature of the saddha. And according to Buddha's message, when we discuss Buddhism, especially at the very beginning, we have to know about the Triple Gem. The Triple Gem is very important when we practice Buddha's message. Triple Gem. When we bless a person, we say, may the Triple Gem bless you. Gem means it is a very valuable thing. You know, people who are in the world, they are interested in collecting gems because they are valuable. And those gems that we earn can be changed, can be destroyed anytime. Sometimes that those gems can bring happiness. Sometimes when they lost them, we lost our happiness. But here the gems that Buddhism says, It's not like that. This is some kind of our spiritual energy or our some kind of mental state. Then when we consider the Saddha or confidence, knowing the triple gem is very important. The first one is the Buddha, the first gem, the Lord Buddha or his enlightenment. The second one is the Dhamma, his noble doctrines, the Dhamma, Buddha's teaching. And number 3, the Sangha. Sangha means Buddha's noble disciples. Having knowledge of these 3 things is very important on the path of liberation. What we consider as the Lord Buddha? Buddha means not only his physical body. We have confidence, his enlightenment, his understanding, his noble qualities. Especially Saddhahati. The verb is of Saddha. Saddha is the noun. The verb is Saddhahati. Confident or believe. And here, when we discuss about the Buddha, we respect Buddha's enlightenment, his understanding. That is why we practice this message. And also the Dhamma, Buddha's teachings, that what we practice on this path. And here the Dhamma it is very special that we can see the results throughout our life. The results are not hereafter, not only hereafter, but as much as we have energy, we have courage, that we can see the results by practicing Dhamma, Buddha's doctrines. As much as we practice, we can see the results, visible results, directly visible results, immediately effective. That is the special thing. And there is a very special quality in Dhamma that we can say, come and see. Buddhism invites you, come and see, not come and believe. That is the very important thing. We can see the result throughout our life. The Sangha means Buddha's noble disciples who practice this message, who are practicing this message, practicing good virtues, tranquility and wisdom. They follow this message. Not only they follow the message, but they protect the message from generation to generation. Among these 3 gems, Buddha is already departed. And Dhamma is visible when we practice it. And also Sangha also visible. We know the Buddhism, we know the Buddha's message through the Sangha. And we should be grateful for Sangha because they practice this message. Not only they are practicing, but they protect the message and they explain this message for the world kindly. They have done a very great duty protecting this message. Especially, the Sri Lankan monks. In India, Buddhism disappeared after 300 years in India. Buddhism completely disappeared. But before that, Buddhism has been brought to Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan monks protected this message and they wrote this message in the books, and also they protected this message from generation to generation, and also they sent to this message to another countries such as Burma, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and China. There are many countries where the Sri Lankan monks brought to this message. That is very important here. Especially when we consider Saddha, it is very important that having some kind of understanding of Saddha. You know, when we listening to this message, through this message we understand Buddha's qualities. And also when we practice this message, we can understand other monks or nuns or Sangha who practice this message, who achieved the results throughout practicing this message. And also the special quality that when we have Saddha or confidence, on the other hand, our energy that we have to practice this message gradually increases. As much as we have Saddha, we have confidence, then we are motivated to go forward practicing this message. You know, if you have a confidence that you can achieve, you can get some degree or master degree or PhD degree, you are promoted. You are active to study because you can see the results. After gaining your degree, you may have more facilities, more qualifications, more jobs. Therefore, you are courage because of the results. Here also like that. If we see the results by practicing this message, we have confidence that we can go forward and we can see the results. That is the very important thing. Saddha, it gradually increases little by little up to Arahant. Up to Arahant means, you know, the enlightenment. From the beginning.
How do you spell that? What is that?
Arahant.
A-N-A-H. Is that an R?
Arahant.
Oh.
Arahant. Arahant means the enlightened one. The enlightened one, Arahant. As a noble disciple, there was a lot of persons who enlightened, and also in this period also a lot of people, a lot of monks who are developing their qualities, their virtues by practicing Buddha's message. And you know, in Buddha's period, there were some persons, as soon as they looked the Lord Buddha, they were so happy because of Buddha's behavior, very disciplined behavior. When we saw the Buddha's very disciplined behavior, they were so happy. They were so pleasant looking Buddha. And after that they asked, your senses are very pleasant and calm. Is there any kind of doctrine that you practice? They asked. Sometimes some persons ask, are you a god? Are you a Brahma? Are you a Yaksa or any other spiritual person? And also some persons ask, are you a ordinary person? Buddha said, no. I am not a god. I am not a Yaksa. I am not a Brahma. I am not a messenger of a god. And also I am not an ordinary human being. That is the very important thing. If he was an ordinary person, he would have happened some normal some misbehaviors such as anger, hatred, delusion, but he didn't have those kind of ill will. Therefore he said, who is he? That he told that I am not such an ordinary human being. I was born as a human being, ordinary human being. But after I enlightened, I became the Buddha. Buddha means if a person has to decrease some kind of defilements, I am the person who reduce all kind of defilements. If there is a person who has to develop good qualities in the maximum level, I am the person who develop good human values in the maximum level. That is the thing how he explained by himself. Then if he had to understand something, he understood everything. If he had to develop some kind of qualities, he developed them in the maximum level. If he had to reduce some bad qualities, he reduced everything. That is the way that Buddha explained himself. Then, when some persons looked Buddha, they were so happy, they were calm, quiet by seeing Buddha's image. But Buddha explained, saying this physical body is not enough for you. If you respect me, you have to listen to what I say. And also, if you respect me, you have to practice this message throughout your life. That is the real way how you respect to me. And Dhamma means, first of all, we listening to Dhamma as an external thing. But when we are familiar with Dhamma, Dhamma is in our inside. We live with Dhamma. But now we think that Dhamma is in the temple, we are at home. Dhamma with us when we are in the temples. But it is not true. As much as we can be familiar with Dhamma, then Dhamma and we are the same. Then we are going everywhere with Dhamma, with practicing this message. Then we are honorable, we are respectable, we are respected by the not only human beings but guardian deities too. And however, Sangha is the one of the highest blessings for our life. They are the person who protected this message, who explained this message, and also who practiced this message through their life. Therefore, these three things are very important. On the other hand, when we discuss about gems, when we discuss gems, material gems, if we have a lot of gems in our home, we are so happy when we think. But sometimes it can bring us sadness too. Because when we lose our material gems, we may be unhappy. But in Saddha is the highest gem that Buddha explained, because, when we think any time about these three things, we are so happy. If you have a very close, good friend who has a lot of good qualities, when you think about that person, what happens to you? You are so happy. What is the reason? What is the reason? Because that person has a lot of good qualities. That is why you are so happy even that person departed. When you think of his qualities, you are so happy because of those virtuous life. Then in this society, when we associate some people, they may be changed any time. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they lose their good qualities. But when we consider these three things, they never give up their qualities. They never go away from these qualities. Any time, if we have confidence or faith about these three things, we are living with these three things. Every moment when we think about Buddha's qualities, our mind is very pure, calm and quiet, very pleasant. We are living with his qualities. When we think about Buddha's message, what Buddha explained to the world as his message, then, daily life we practice a lot of qualities that Buddha explained, then we are living with those qualities. We are thinking about the cause of suffering. We are thinking about the right understanding. We are thinking about dependent origination. We are thinking about mindfulness, wisdom, triple gem. When we think these things, nobody can disturb our peace of mind, because we are so strong with the pure mind. Even though we lose our money, even though we lose our some friends, although we lose our jobs, nobody can disturb our peace of mind. Nobody can steal our inner happiness, inner peace. This is the very special thing that a person can achieve as a human being in the world, as an intelligent person. You know, day by day, if we can increase the period that we think about these three things, be sure that our happiness gradually grows up. This is one of the signs that we are on the path of liberation. We are path on the liberation. We are path on the real happiness. Be sure. If you can day by day go forward with concern in these three qualities, three gems, it means we are on the real path of liberation. We are on the real path of happiness. You know, by practicing Buddha's message, we mostly think about Buddha's qualities. We mostly think about Buddha's noble disciples who passed away and who are still living. We think about Reverend Sariputta, Venerable Mahakasyapa, Venerable Moggallana, Venerable Rahula, those who are the persons in our world, in our mind. We live with them in our life, although they passed away. Still they are in our mind. They are in our home. They are at our home. Because, you know, they are alive. We can alive them if we think their qualities. Then, if we have this understanding, we don't criticize anybody, because our mind is full with happiness thinking about these things. We have no chance to criticize others who have misqualities, misbehavior. Although some persons have disturbed us, we don't think about them, because we know very well when we think them, we lose our happiness. Little by little we go away from them, and little by little we are reaching to these three things which bring us the real happiness. Then the special thing Buddha said, he who sees Dhamma sees me. One day Buddha explained to the one of the disciples who was Vakkali. Reverend Vakkali was a person who was looking at Buddha's image. Buddha said, Vakkali, it is not enough to looking at me. That if you want to look at me, you see the Dhamma, then you can see me. He who sees Dhamma sees me. He who sees me sees Dhamma. Yo Dhammam passati, so mam passati, yo mam passati, so Dhammam passati. The way that we see Buddha through practicing Buddha's message, Buddha's doctrines. And when we have Saddha, as much as we have Saddha, there are another qualities gradually increase. One of them is energy, effort. Effort means courage, energy, strength. As much as we have happiness or confidence or faith about these three things, our courage gradually increases, that we should try to practice this message in this life. We give the priority to practice this message. In our day-to-day life, we have a lot of priorities. Going to your job, going to the college, taking care of your children or your relatives. Those are the duties that you do in your day-to-day life. You may think that by doing those kind of activities, you can gain happiness. That is why you do a lot of things. You may get some happiness from them, but as much as you have this understanding, you know very well, the great reason that brings the real happiness is practicing, developing the confidence of these three things. As much as we have the confidence of these three things, our energy gradually going up. It grows up. We have confidence that when we practice this message, we can see the result in this life. Result is visible. Therefore, our energy grows up, and not only energy, and mindfulness also grows up. Mindfulness. Then we do everything mindfully. We have full awareness what we do, what happens to my mind, what happens to outside. We have full awareness. We have awareness about our senses. We do everything keeping the watchers near our senses. We don't give any chance to steal we don't give a chance to other persons to steal our inner peace. If somebody can steal your inner happiness, where is the fault? Fault is in ours. We have no mindfulness. We have no awareness. That is why they steal our peace of mind, our inner peace. If we have Saddha or confidence, we have energy or virya. If we have energy or strength or courage to practice this message, our mindfulness gradually grows up. Then, if we have mindfulness, it means nobody can steal our peace of mind. We do everything mindfully. Always we practice awareness, we practice mindfulness. The contemplation of body and the contemplation of mind. There are 4 steps on mindfulness: the contemplation of body, the contemplation of feelings, the contemplation of consciousness, and the contemplation of mental formations. These are the 4 places that we practice mindfulness according to Buddha's message. And when we practice mindfulness, another quality also increases.
What were they again? The contemplation of what?
The contemplation of physical body, contemplation of feelings, contemplation of consciousness or mind, contemplation of mental formations. These are the 4 places that we practice mindfulness, where we practice mindfulness. And when we have confidence or Saddha, our energy increases. What is the energy? What kind of energy that increases our life? Energy means the energy that we have to avoid unwholesome deeds. And the energy that we have to develop wholesome deeds. This is the energy that we have. One of them should be increased, one of should be reduced. The energy, one of them is that energy we develop good qualities, wholesome deeds, it should be increased. And the energy that we do some bad deeds, so unwholesome deeds, so evil in our life should be reduced. That is one of the energy that we develop as much as we have Saddha. And also we have mindfulness. Little by little we practice mindfulness. And also the third one, as the result of practicing mindfulness, we have tranquility or concentration. Tranquility. We can focus our mind with a particular object, particular wholesome object for a long time. First of all, we can practice as a 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Little by little, we develop the period that we focus our mind practicing some kind of tranquility meditation techniques as Samatha Bhavana, Samatha meditation. Our success, our happiness depends on how long we are clever to keep our mind with a particular wholesome object. Some people think that when they are rich, if they are rich, they are successful. If they are well educated or they have several degrees or master degrees, they are successful. If somebody has a lot of children who are well educated, somebody thinks that they are very successful. But Buddhism never says it. Our successfulness, our proficiency, our skillfulness completely depends on how long we can keep our mind with a particular wholesome object for a long time. Our happiness, our inner peace completely depends on how long, how far we are clever to keep our mind with a particular wholesome meditation technique. Because when we meditate, when we are with the meditation technique, surely it means the defilements don't come to our mind. Anger, desire, greed, jealousy, those are the defilements. They can come to our mind and disturb our peace of mind if we are in concentration. Then we don't stay here, we go forward. In Buddha's period, there were some persons who have developed their mind with concentration or tranquility. They were for a long time with concentrated mind. But according to Buddhism, they were not the real successful persons. Because sometimes they can go away from their concentration. Still, defilements such as anger, greed can disturb their peace of mind. Because this tranquility is uncertain. It is impermanent. Therefore, Buddha explained how do we become the very certain tranquility. For that we have to practice another step, that wisdom. With concentrated mind, we think we see the world reality that arises and sees in our experience.
That should be 4. 1.
Yeah, 1 is here.
No.
2, 3, 4, tranquility.
Oh, 1 is there. Oh, okay.
So when we have Saddha, we have energy, we have mindfulness, we have tranquility, we have wisdom.
Okay, got it.
Although there are 4 things, Buddha explained, we have to practice only 2. Only 2. If you are an intelligent person, you have to practice only 2.
What if you're sort of intelligent? I was just joking.
Yeah, actually, most of us are intelligent, but it is not the complete intelligence that from the beginning to end we have to practice little by little. We have to develop it. Still, you have some kind of intelligence. That is why we are here. That is why we are well educated. As human beings, there are some persons who are so mad, who can't even write or read something. When we compare them, actually we can be happy. We can be proud of our karmic energy that we accumulated in our previous lives. That is why we are here. However, we should not stop in this level. We have another duty to develop, increase this intelligence in the maximum level as much as we can. And here, as an intelligent person, Buddha explained, we have to develop only two. Mindfulness and wisdom. And on the other way, Buddha explained very clearly, we have to do only one. Sometimes Buddha explained, although Buddha explained a lot of qualities, lot of techniques that we have to practice, finally, ultimately, we have to practice only one. There were some persons in Buddha's period who had developed their mind in the maximum level in their previous lives. Buddha didn't explain them Saddha or energy or mindfulness. Directly, Buddha explained to them the knowledge which relates to wisdom. Such as there was a person who is Bahya Daruchirya. Bahya Daruchirya is a person in Buddha's period who was a lay person. As soon as Buddha met him, Buddha understood, Buddha read his mind, and Buddha understood that that person is a very great, intelligent person. Therefore, Buddha didn't go to explain these 4 stages. Buddha explained only this level. He understood quickly. He was the person who attained enlightenment very quickly in this dispensation of the Buddha. He is the very, very intelligent person. Buddha explained, you also are so lucky to listen in the message that Buddha explained to him. Buddha explained, if you see something, if you hear something, if you are able to understand this scene is arising and ceasing in this moment, this is the highest knowledge. If you have some kind of experience about some forms through your eyes, if you have some experience about some sounds through your ears, if you have some experience about some smells through your nose, that experience arises in this moment. It doesn't come to the present from the past. It doesn't go to the future from the present. It arises, that experience arises and ceases in this moment. If you can imagine it, if you can aware it, if you can understand this reality, if you can live with this understanding completely, you can reduce your all defilements. It means we can overcome suffering. We mostly suffer because of thinking our past or future. Buddhism doesn't say that you don't forget your past or future, but the fault is when we think some kind of our past experience, our mind goes to the past. If we have real mindfulness, when we think something, when we remember something, if we have an ability to understand, our mind reads my past or future, we can understand, we can aware any kind of past or future experience, but we don't suffer. We don't have big attachment. We don't get angry. We don't get ill will. Because of full awareness of mindfulness and wisdom, seeing, arising and ceasing of our all experience is the highest knowledge that dependent origination, what Buddha explained to the world, who are the very, very intellectual persons. Not only understanding, but according to understanding, we have to reflect on it again and again throughout our life by controlling our organs, our behavior and words. We may have good discipline before we go to practice this message. As much as we have Saddha or confidence about the Buddha's message, we try to develop our virtue, discipline, morality, or discipline in our speech and behavior. If we have this understanding, we know very well, if I have misbehavior, I will have bad results. I never hope those bad results because of understanding. Therefore, I try to avoid, I try to overcome misbehavior, miswords from my life. And also, as much as we can develop the good qualities such as compassion, loving kindness, generosity, wisdom, those are the attitudes that we have to practice in the name of inner happiness. Therefore, here, when we discuss Saddha, today we especially discussed about Saddha or confidence on the triple gem, the Buddha's enlightenment and Dhamma Buddha's teaching, and the Sangha, the Buddha's noble disciples. This is a very important topic in Buddhism. Then, as much as we practice this message, gradually this Saddha grows up. And also, as I explained you before, when we have Saddha, the life that we spend our day-to-day life, most of periods that we think about these three things. Not only Buddha's image, we think about Buddha's qualities. We think about Buddha's doctrines, what he explained to the world to practice to get rid of suffering. And also we think about the Sangha who practice this message, who enlighten, who develop their qualities in the maximum level. We always live with them. We go here and there with them. We talk with them. Not verbally, mentally we are talking with them. We are imagining them. We dream them. When we sleep, we dream them. Because they are our world. They are our entire life. Because we see the results. Any other all things can't bring this kind of experience to our life. Although we have a lot of friends, they may die one day. Although we have some jobs, someday we have to retire. Although we have some kind of memories, when we growing up, sometimes our memory goes away. Although we have a very good complexion, although we have a beautiful body, but gradually it is going to old age. Although we have a lot of good friends, little by little they go away or they are subject to die. Although we have our kind mother, father, they also died. Already actually they have died. They have passed away. This is the nature of our life. How do we trust in them? Yes.
Dhammagaru, I've been around so many people that age is a problem to them. Age, not only healthy attitude about age. I feel if you're healthy mentally and you know that you're born to age and to die, so what is the problem if you're a year older? Why does it bother them so much?
According to Buddhism, health can be divided into two: mental health and physical health. Nobody can overcome physical health. Sometimes we may be healthy, but usually we are subject to get some sickness. But mentally also, a lot of people in the world, they are also mentally ill. If we have defilements such as jealousy, ill will, a big attachment, anger, those are the mental illnesses. Then Buddhism advises us to overcome. How do we become the mental health? That is the important thing. Mental health is more important than physical health. When we are healthy physically, do we mention, now I am healthy? No. How about when we are sick?
I don't feel good.
Then we think about our body again and again. Be sure that if we are sick physically, it means we are not sick in physically. We are sick in mentally. That is the nature of the life. Physically can gain some kind of experience, some feelings to our body. But when we think it as it is mine, then we accept the suffering. All age also like that. Now, when we are going to old ages, now we think, I am going to old age. I am going to sicknesses. Now, I have caught these diseases as mine. This is the cause of suffering. Buddhism advises us to avoid, release from the self-view. Self-view means now we think everything is mine. This body is mine. These things are mine. These children are mine. These certificates are mine. Now we have caught all of them as mine. When they change, we think that I change. When they destroyed, we think that I am destroyed. Because now I have caught all of them as mine, as my. This is the cause of suffering. Buddha explained how do we overcome this self-view. This is one of the worst misunderstanding that we have. Even, Arahantas who became the enlightenment, they also become the old age. They also become some kind of sicknesses. But they don't get them as they are. They see only the process. The life is the nature. The life is the nature of some kind of process, mind and body process. They see this life as a process, not as a particular permanent person. Now we mention the life is as a certain thing, that mind, that as a person. All Buddhist doctrines focus on how do we overcome this misconcept. If we can overcome this misconcept, even though we face old age, we don't suffer mentally. Physically we have some kind of weaknesses. But, because we have overcome self-view, that misconcept, we don't get those sufferings as mine. We see this life as a result of a process, not as a particular certain person. This is the special thing that Buddha explained. If a person can attain enlightenment, reducing all kind of defilements, that person has overcome suffering, old age, sicknesses, death, before they die. That is the interesting thing is. Now we think that we overcome suffering of death after death. But according to Buddhism, if we can enlightenment just now, we can overcome suffering of death, illness, everything in just now, not after death. Someday he will die, but he doesn't mention that he died. He sees only a process. The process of cause and effect. Now, when we are going to old age, now I think that my body is going to old age, now I am so weak. When we are going to sicknesses, we think that I am sick, I have this kind of feelings. Now we have got those things as mine. If we can overcome this misconception through practicing this message, reducing defilements, this is the only way how we overcome suffering. On the other hand, some people, when they have no this understanding, although they are very rich and well educated, when they get sick, they were so unhappy because they have brought all of sufferings as they are. If somebody can overcome this misconception, misunderstanding, reducing delusion or ignorance, this is the only path how we overcome suffering. Then we think, although we have physical bodies, although we have vehicles, houses, children, actually, what is our life?
Still suffering. Well,
when we sleep, we are sleeping on a bed which is so expensive. After we sleep, do we feel that bed is so expensive? Every moment, although we use a lot of material things, we live in our mind. We have only mental attitude once. Our life is completely our mind. It doesn't sound that we don't have some sufferings physically. We have. Although we have sufferings physically, we mostly live in mentally. The mental conditions also, what is the nature of the mental condition? Every moment the mind arises and ceases. We have only the present moment, that every moment is refreshed, new, very new. But because of ignorance, we are old. We have lost our present experience, how is very wonderful, very happy moment in this moment. Because of our ignorance or delusion. If we can understand this reality, we can imagine our past or future, but if we can develop mindfulness, it helps to live in the present moment, seeing this mental condition. Although I am old when I think my age. If we don't think our age, we are not old. If you don't think your pain or your some sicknesses, sickness, we are not ill. We are not sick. We are sick as soon as we think about our disease. If we can understand this reality, we may be sick or we may get some medicine. It doesn't matter. But mentally we are healthy. Then this is actually little by little, we have to practice this path. When we practice this path, we don't come to overcome old age or sicknesses or death, but we can overcome the suffering of death. We can overcome suffering of illness. We can overcome suffering of old age. That's the interesting thing that Buddha explained. Now, we completely live mentally. If we can understand our mind, if we can overcome ignorance and delusion, then we can overcome previous experience and future experience. Then we live in the present moment. We do our duties. We may earn some money doing some jobs. We do everything for our duties, for our day-to-day life. But with this understanding, by having practicing this message, we have a real knowledge. The only way that helps us to get rid of suffering is practicing this message. Other things are not the real solutions. How do we overcome suffering? We have to get some education. We have to do some jobs. We have to earn some money because of our duties. That is essential. Buddhism never explained that you don't do your job, you don't educate, you don't study. Buddhism never says, Buddhism has explained the importance of earning money, having education, fulfilling duties. Buddhism always has explained the importance of doing our day-to-day life, fulfilling our responsibilities and duties. It is essential as a social person. But that is not the real solution to get rid of suffering. If one wishes to get rid of suffering, this is the real path that we have to practice in our day-to-day life. Therefore, if you are intelligent, if you are clever, if you are a skillful person, we have to give the priority to practice this path.
So ultimately, does a person have to become a monk or a nun to become fully free of suffering, fully liberated?
It means you may then, if a person can become a monk anytime.
Does a person, in order to be free of suffering, to follow the Buddha's path completely, does someone have to become a monk or a nun?
Yeah, there were some persons in the Buddha's period who ordained in their old age. There were some persons who ordained at the age of 80. Some persons, there were some persons like Sona, Nun Sona, and monk Radha. They ordained at the age of 120 years. At the age of 120. Very old age. Yeah, please wait a minute. Okay. They ordained their very high age. But physically, they are healthy. They were healthy. They could practice this message. Any time, any period, as we like, we can become a monk. But according to Buddhism, we have some kind of qualities, some qualifications. I think all of you have those qualities, If we have lost some of our eyes or some of fingers, some legs, it is some kind of weaknesses that we can't attain we can't ordain. But if physically we are okay, we can ordain any kind of period in our life. From 7 to any age, we can ordain in the Buddha's dispensation. On the other hand, there were some persons after they enlighten, as a lay persons like you, as soon as they attain enlightenment, there were some persons who ordained. Because as a lay person like you, they can't live as an arahant person after 7 days. Maximally, they can live only 7 days after their enlightenment as a lay person like you. Because it is the very highest thing to bear. That is the thing. They are going to end of their life. But there were some persons who are interested in living more. They have become the monks. There are 2 ways. One of them, there were many persons who ordained in any age that they liked. There were some persons, after they enlightened, after like you as lay persons, after they enlightened, they have become the monkhood. Do you have asked any other thing? Okay. There is another thing that we have to explain. Okay, I will explain it later. Please ask your question. Okay, no problem. No, actually, he asked a long question.
I think what I was going to ask is what he was saying. I think this is what David was saying, was that could we, people like us, obtain enlightenment and get rid of suffering? Can we achieve this
higher state
to get rid of suffering and have happiness? What were you asked it again?
Yeah, he was saying that it can be done, but once a person attains arhat, that they have to leave the lay life. You can't remain. You can't remain part of the regular.
You have to go into the.
Yeah, in enlightenment, there were 4 steps. There were 4 steps. Okay? In enlightenment, there are 4 certain steps. One of them is Sotapanna. Second one is Sakadagami. Third one is Anagami. Fourth one is Arahantas. In these 3 steps, little by little we reduce defilements. In this level, we reduce some kind of defilements. In this level, again we reduce another defilements or unwholesome evils. And little by little in this level, we reduce all defilements completely. These 3 steps, anybody can live. Like layperson, no monks, anybody can live. As a Sotapanna, as a Sakadagami, as a Anagami, in this level, there were some persons who attained Sotapanna in Buddha's period. At the age of 7th, they have achieved the first step. After that, in young age, they got married. They can do in this level. In this level also, there were some persons who spend their life as a wife and husband. In this level. But in this level, although they live at home, they don't spend their life as wife and husband. They separated. In this level, they don't need the sexual life. They don't need it. They have overcome that satisfactoriness in this level. But there were some persons who were very intelligent and who helped to monks to achieve arhanship. There were some lay persons in Buddha's period, like, such as Chitta Gruhapati. Some of them was Chitta Gruhapati, Hatta Halavaka. Those who were the persons who attained the 3rd level, which is Anagami. In Arahant, in these 3 levels, actually we also try to become those levels. Day by day, we spend our all energy to become those positions. However, let's try to become these positions. But this level, this is the highest level. You know, in this level, the person who attains this level, he or she has only 7 other births. During 7 births, 7 rebirths, they will end their samsaric journey. In this level, there are only 3. Only 3 lives they have in future. And during 3 lives, 3 rebirths, they will reduce their all defilements and they end the samsaric journey. In this 3rd level, the Anagami, the person who attains Anagami, he doesn't come to this world again. He will be reborn in the Brahma realm because he has reduced his necessities of sexual needs. And he doesn't come back here. He has only 1 birth. In the 4th level, that person has end of the samsaric journey in this life itself. And in this level, you know, as much as we have energy, we have courage, we can reduce our defilements, you know, liberation is not only in this level. As much as you have reduced the defilements in such a steps, you can see the liberation. We can see the liberation through our life.
Dhammagaru, well, where am I? Where am I going to end up?
Yeah, actually, you know, according to knowledge, you know, when we develop our knowledge, if you have become this step, definitely you know I am this level.
Attain enlightenment at that level?
This is also some kind of enlightenment. There are 4 steps in enlightenment. This is the first level of enlightenment. In this level, we have reduced completely self-view. Self-view means we don't catch anything as my or mine. We can use anything. We can use our physical body. We can protect our children. But we don't catch them as mine or mine. That is the difference. It is a very permanent concept. It is not only words. You know, Buddha also has explained my disciples, my temple. Word is not the fault. No. We can say, this is my table, this is my phone. We can say, it is not the fault. Fault is we have got something in our mind. This is mine. We have attachment, big attachment with them. With the result of practicing this first level, we reduce the self-view. It says in Buddha's language in Pali that, you know, Sakkaya Ditthi. Sakkaya Ditthi is the major, the vast defilements that we have to overcome difficulty.
What do you mean defilement? What is that?
Defilements means the cravings and evils or cravings, unwholesome deeds. Those are the things, defilements. Anger, desire, jealousy, those are the defilements. Little by little, when we growing up with these steps, we reduce the defilements which disturb our peace of mind. If we have no defilements, it means nobody can disturb our peace of mind. If somebody can disturb our peace of mind, if somebody can bring suffering to our life, it means we are dependent on them. By practicing this path, we are going to the real liberation, real freedom that nobody can control us.
So how far am I going to go within my lifetime? How far can I go?
It depends on our wisdom, our intelligence, and our courage. These are the 4 things. We discussed those 5 things. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. I have explained those things in your handout too. Buddha explained. And also, as soon as Buddha met a person, suddenly he read that person's mind. How much that person has explained this, that person has developed those 5 things in his previous life. He read those person's mind. When he met a person, he didn't care that person's caste or health or education. He didn't concern. He concerned how far that person has gone on these 4 things. Your success, your spiritual development, your enlightenment depends on how much you have practiced these 5 things in your previous life, and also how much you have knowledge about this path, and just now, how much you are practicing these 5 things. Your success, your spiritual development, your spiritual results depends on how much you are practicing these 4 qualities. Day by day, this is our dowry. This is our real dowry, which brings the real happiness. Other dowries can bring us suffering. But this Buddha, according to Buddhism, this is the real dowry, real prosperity, real wealth in your life, because these are the things which bring the real happiness to our life, to reduce defilements or unwholesome deeds in our mind. Then, little by little, try to develop these qualities, and first of all, we may have clear knowledge about these 5 things. And also, simultaneously, you may have the clear knowledge about the impermanence, the dependent origination, and arising and ceasing of our experience. Every moment, in the present moment, we experience about the world through our senses. That experience actually in this moment. Although we have memory, this experience didn't come to the present from the past. This experience doesn't go to future from the present. I always get the same example. This sound didn't come to here from the past. This sound doesn't go to future. Our whole experience also like that. Here we have to understand what is the suffering. Our success, our spiritual development depends on how far we have understood the suffering. We mostly think that we have some pain, we have some illnesses, those are the reason of suffering, but those are not the real reasons of suffering. Buddha explained the main cause of suffering is ignorance, or unknowing of the arising and ceasing. Because of ignorance, when we look at something, if we have some experience, our mind goes to past. We live in the past. Or we live in the future. Because of ignorance, our mind doesn't be ready to live in the present moment. It runs past or future. Then we are suffering. Then little by little, when we are growing up with this knowledge, we practice to live in the present moment, in arising and ceasing, practicing mindfulness and wisdom. Mindfulness means try to do everything what you do physically or mentally, consciously, with awareness. This is the way Buddha explained. The only way that we have to reduce defilements or to overcome suffering to achieve enlightenment is practicing mindfulness. Always try to think about what happens to your mind, what kind of thoughts now in my mind, negative or positive, good or bad. This is very important. We have to understand our mind and body. And little by little, when we develop awareness or mindfulness, we try to live with mindfulness. It helps us to tranquility, and tranquility helps us to develop wisdom according to our knowledge on this path. Knowledge is very important. Knowledge is the very essential thing. And also, according to knowledge, we have to reflect on it again and again, and also practice samatha vidarsana.
Dhammagaru, now I don't have children, or I'm not married. So, the attachments in my life that I have, what would that be? Like my brother and my two sisters?
Actually, we don't worry to avoid, we don't worry to go away from attachment. Don't try to go away from your relationship. Try to develop our understanding. As much as we have understanding, gradually our big attachment reduces. You know, when we are going to the mirror, gold mirror, we can see our picture. When your picture is very beautiful, are you going to catch the picture, keeping your hand to mirror? What is the reason? Because of your understanding. Because of your understanding, we don't put the rules that you don't should put your hand. We never make the rules. As much as you have understanding, you don't go to catch this picture. Our big attachment also like that. Don't worry to go away from the attachment. Try to develop the understanding. Understanding helps you to go away from the big attachment. Yeah, that's the thing. You do your responsibilities in the name of your relatives, your parents, you do. But while you are doing your responsibilities, you have no big attachment. If you have no big attachment, you have nothing to suffer.
When they leave.
When they leave, when they die, when they get sick, you do your duties. For example, when you go to the mirror, if your figure is very complex, you are so happy. When you go away, your picture vanishes. Do you worry? Now I picture vanished here. Do you cry? Why don't you cry? Because of your understanding, you know very well this is the nature of the picture. We also know very well, although you have a mom, although you have a best friend, you have a friend, only you think about him. You meet a person in the mirror when you come to the mirror. You have a parent, you have a friend, when you think about him, when you see him, when you listen his voice, when you smell him, when you keep your hand to his body, at that moment only you have that experience. That experience is present. Your experience completely same to this figure in the mirror. Because of this understanding, as much as we have this understanding, we have nothing to get as a big attachment, or we have nothing to get angry or ill will. Yeah, therefore, Buddha never told that you have to give up your children, you have to give up your education or any other. We have to do only thing to get the knowledge and to develop our wisdom.
So, people, I child, but her daughter died, got killed by a hit and run. And she was attached to that child, and that caused her great suffering all the remainder of her life. And even now, when people lose a loved one, the attachment is what caused their grief, prolonged grief and mourning.
Yeah, actually, when we associate the people, if you have this understanding, we are not worried to correct them. First of all, we should try to change our attitude. Then this is more essential. This is the more important. You know, although there is this kind of vision in the world, we can correct them. It is very difficult. We can cover all over the earth, but we can cover our feet. Yeah, that is the thing that we do first. While we are practicing this message, if we have some kind of close friends or relatives, we can help them, given this understanding. As a kind person, you can help them. You can give this knowledge to them. But when they cry, sometimes we can't help them because of their no understanding, because of their delusion. They become that position. But we are the fortunate people. You know, we know the real reason what we suffer. If we know the path, first of all, we try to practice this message throughout our life. That should be our first goal or our aim in our life. Okay? We can correct all of them, but as sensitive persons, Buddha explained, if you have this knowledge, if you know the path of liberation, if you know to get rid of suffering, if you have a good friend, if you have a close friend or relative like your mom or dad, if that person is ready to listen to your voice, try to give the knowledge to him. If that person is ready to listen to you, if that person doesn't ready to listen, we can't help them. They are helpless. Yeah. Then you are ready to listen. That is why I explained this path. You are so lucky. Okay. Thank you so much. All of you are coming here. And now the time to end this session. Today you came to the temple faithfully, and first of all you observed 5 precepts. And we paid our homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and we meditated few times, and also now we discuss Buddha's message kindly and faithfully. And by practicing these kind of all activities, we accumulated a lot of merits. By the power of all these merits, may our beloved departed relatives receive these merits, and may they achieve good life, and finally may they attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved relatives too. Idam me ñātenam hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātenam hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātenam hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits, and may they keep their eye on you too. And may they protect you. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to the guardian deities and angels too. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodanto sabba sampatti sindhya. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhadam punya sampadam Sabbe deva anumodanto sabba sampatti sindhya ettavataca amhehi sambatang punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodanto sabba sampatti sindhya. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no problems come to you. May all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the triple flame bless you.